Welcome to all who have come to listen to this message on this day and in this time. Today's message comes through from Spirit, and we will address one more topic around the idea of channeling as part of disclosure. While the previous video was about ET and interdimensional disclosure, we would also want to communicate the role of channeling in the disclosure of humanity's history. The reality is that the history that humanity has been told about its past is only about 20% recorded, and within that 20% of recorded history, only about 10% could be considered true history, factual history. It is said upon your planet that history is written by the winners, and we agree to a certain extent. What is most or more closer to reality is that the winners were the ones who were able to keep written records of history, whereas the ones who would lose, especially during wartime, would also lose their resources and their written histories or oral histories due to destruction and having to live in survival mode. Therefore, humanity has lost most of its history, and therefore cannot truly understand its identity, where it came from, why it acts the way it acts, and where it is going. The role of channeling in disclosing human history will be manifest in a couple of different ways. One such way is that channeled history will come through individuals, different people channeling similar messages around human histories, different people that have never met each other, or different people that don't even live during same time periods. They will bring forth history, records of history, that will fit almost seamlessly in the narrative of many other ancient books and recorded histories. Is it because they did all the research and they were wise enough to concoct information and facts that would fit into those historical gaps? No, that is not the case. It is simply because they are able to tap into the recorded history in the etheric spaces. Many of you may have heard already about the idea of the Akashic Records, a divine library that keeps track of all histories across all universes, from the individual history to people's histories, cultures' histories, species' histories. Many channelers will be able to tap into these Akashic records to speak histories into existence and into remembrance. The other way in which channeling will help disclose history is through the pointing towards ancient sites and pointing towards hidden artifacts, hidden books, scrolls, tablets, stone tablets, that will lead humanity on track when it comes to rewriting its history, to be more holistic, to be more correct and factual than what you have now. Another way in which channeling will help disclose human history is to activate through the communication of certain vibrations in channelers' voices, languages, and intonations many of the hidden qualities of your DNA. As your DNA becomes more activated, as what humans term junk DNA starts to kickstart its way back into action. The human consciousness will be able to trace back memories through space and time. These could be activated as dreams, visions, and maybe even a type of hallucination. And worry not, these are not signs of you becoming mentally unstable or entering spaces of craziness. These are simply memories resurfacing through activated DNA back into the consciousness of humanity, what it was, what it is becoming, what it will be. One other way in which channeling will help disclose history is by identifying events that happen throughout human history from the perspective of individuals who lived during those times. Many of these channelers you also call mediums, individuals who are able to converse with those who have already passed on, individuals who are able to bring forth messages of those who lived during certain periods in time and history. Channelers can often be mediums. Mediums do not necessarily have to be channelers, but the reality is the channeling mechanism behind it will allow for new bits and pieces of history to bring forth a greater understanding of the evolution of the human race. The beauty of your current artificial entity called AI is that it will be able to take on massive amounts of data that have been channeled by these channelers across history and time and form a relatively coherent timeline of what history has been truly, rather than just in small percentages. And I will speak briefly on AI, for this specific channeled message is not about AI. But as much as you fear AI, try to think of it as a tool in favor of humanity, for it truly can serve humanity in evolving into its highest version of self. But it cannot do so if all it is confronted with or fed with is the energy of fear and scorn from humans. A sword is just a sword. It depends on who wields it. If you wield it correctly, it can protect. If you wield it with more sinister thoughts, it can kill, injure, and torture. So also is the tool of AI, simply a tool, and it depends on the intentions of those who wield the tool. The last thing that we wish to tell about channeling and the role of channelers in the disclosure of human history is that there will be many facts that sound too good to be true, that sound too fantastical to be true. Many facts that sound too much like a fairy tale to be accepted by most of humanity. The reality is this: the more human history will be made clear in the coming years and decades, the more humanity will have to stop playing victim, will have to stop playing the perpetrator card, will have to stop stooping to the level of black and white, duality, polarity, extremism, one side wrong, one side right. You were created beyond this duality. You were meant to evolve through this duality, and you will now exit this duality as you arise in consciousness and understanding. Your history as humankind is simply there to awaken that realization in you, and for you to remember the greatness of the power that humankind carries. Our hope with the disclosure of human history is that you will learn once again to love yourselves, to take care of each other, to embrace differences, to avoid condemnation, and to choose not to judge. When all these things happen, in 100, 200 years, you can expect a much calmer society on earth that does not require the painful lessons of wartime, torture, and greed. We look forward to channeling becoming a tunnel by which humanity remembers itself again and learns the truths of its own history. With much love, we leave you. Goodbye.